Shout it louder, come on, get louder. He is so good, God is so good. You're so good, good to me.
That was so good! We love it! Girls, if you haven't caught on, this is Brittany Bradford who sings our introduction song, You're So Good to Me. So thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we actually went to the same college as Brittany, but we didn't meet her until a little while afterwards.
No.
I know. Just kind of ran into each other, and we've been friends ever since. And we just want you to hear Brittany's story and learn about the talents that she has. She just has an incredible testimony that we're so excited to share with you today. So first of all, the girls probably don't know you. So what are 3 fun facts about you?
I like to hike. I like doing anything outdoorsy, camping, all of that. Photography. I like to take photos.
She's very talented in that too.
Basically, I like to go out, hike, and take photos. I like banana pudding. It's so good.
Oh.
It's so good. Do you guys like banana pudding?
Sounds
I
good.
mean, I'm not going to say no to banana pudding. Sounds great to me.
That's awesome. Well, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
And did you always know that you were going to go into singing, songwriting, worship leading? Like, did you know that from a young age, or is it something that kind of developed in you?
So I didn't always know. Absolutely not. When I was growing up, I actually wanted to be a dog. I know that sounds really weird, but that was me. I was on the floor as a kid, just crawling around like a dog. The family loved it. It wasn't until later that I started to realize those things. When I look back on my story now, I can see how God was just orchestrating it, putting all these details together. I would say youth group for me was kind of when I started to realize, or that I look back now and realize that God was like starting something there. I was able to join the drama team and do skits with the youth group, which I love so much, and it helped grow me. Thank you. It helped grow me as a person to gain this confidence, to be more outgoing, to have that stage presence, to look people in the eyes, that eye contact. So it's just, that was so helpful with that. And then as well, there was a moment in the youth group when my youth pastor asked me to play the piano for the worship team, and I, at the moment I was like, me? Yeah. You sure you want me? Because I'm not that great. But I was just so honored that he had asked me, and I did it.
Yeah.
And I really loved it, and I grew in it, and it started something in me. So just youth group, and also we got to do fine arts.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
Love that. Which was incredible. Got to do a
I did
skit
fine
there.
arts.
I
and
did
Shauna
fine arts
did
too.
What'd you
Love
guys
that
do?
connection. I did sign language and poetry.
And I did poetry and singing.
That's
Okay.
awesome. So I got to do skits, and I did a spoken word too. It was just awesome, and just youth group, it really just started that in me, and I'm just so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And where it's brought me now.
Yeah. I love that. That is so good. And the last time we were talking, you were saying that you've written hundreds of songs. So you've obviously written the song, You're So Good to Me, as well as some others. But you said that even a few years in a row, you were writing at least 100 songs each year. So what's your inspiration behind writing songs? Tell me a little bit about that.
So writing songs for me it's kind of like writing a diary entry. It's just, the song it can come from a feeling, it can come just from a moment. I can be having a conversation with somebody and just be so moved by their story.
Yeah.
And then I move to write a song from that.
Yeah.
It just really, anywhere, social media. I remember I was reading a post, and that post is what inspired me to write my song of my season.
Yeah.
And well, God really wrote that song. But it just, inspiration, it can come from anywhere and at any moment.
Yeah. I love that songs can be a way that you can worship the Lord and that you can use that to worship. And I know that we all go through, you were talking about your song of my season. We all go through seasons that are difficult, that can be really challenging. And in those seasons, it can be hard to really find your song again. And it can be hard to feel like you want to worship the Lord. And so what was a time that you felt like it was hard to worship the Lord, but he used you in that moment anyway? Tell me about a story.
Just to kind of give you guys some backstory. Last year was the worst year of my entire life. The darkest year, and it's still kind of leaked into this year. But just to backtrack to last year, it was in April when I released my album, which is awesome. It was great. And then about a month after that, I got one of those phone calls that you never want to get. And it was that my cousin had just died in a car accident. Her and her husband and their soon-to-be-born baby just died just like that. And it just shocked me. And it was awful. She left behind her then 6-year-old son. It was just, it's wretched. It was just this horrible story. And then at that time, I was dating a guy that I was like, this guy. He's the one, I just, this guy, like, I'm so cautious in dating and all of that. And I just was like, this guy's going to be the one. He's just so great. There's something here. I just know it. And it turns out that he wasn't who I thought he was. And it took me to a bad place when we broke up. Just to kind of give you all that, just this backstory to transition now. So that happened. So my cousin died in May. And then, me and that guy broke up in September, and then it was in October. I was at my cousin's grave site, just really broken, just really, really broken, just there. And as I was standing at her grave, I saw a girl come up off in the distance, and she was just she was at a grave, and she was sobbing. I could hear her, and as I heard her, I couldn't think of my pain as I could hear her so clearly, just so loud, and I just felt like I needed to go talk to her. I was like, oh great, well this is weird. I don't know cemetery etiquette. This is probably wrong. Like, you don't go up to somebody when they're standing in a room crying. Like, just don't do that. But I felt like it was something I needed to do. And so I did. So I went over there and I sat down next to her. And it turns out she's like this woman, this gorgeous woman with this gorgeous hair. I thought it was like this young girl, but it wasn't. She was still very young. So I sat down next to her and I said, I don't know cemetery etiquette. But I really felt like I needed to come talk to you. I said, who's here? And she said it was her husband, and that he had died a few months ago of cancer. And I did end up giving her one of my CDs. I did felt led to give her one.
That's awesome.
And so after I left like that conversation, it's dark by this time, and I left and went back to my apartment at the time, and I only made it to the foyer. That's as far as I got. Just the weight of all of it. That's one of the things that I can look back at and go, God, you're using me. This is like, when I wrote the CD, I didn't expect to be sitting in a cemetery at night talking to a woman in such pain like this. But God can use so many circumstances and use us where we're at. If you're in a dark season, if you are in just a rough place, I just want you to know you're not alone. And I'm sorry you're going through this. I am so sorry. It's hard. But I want you to know that light always overcomes the darkness. So even though you feel like you're in a dark place, God's gonna bring in that light. He is. Maybe you feel like you're just not enough. Your talents, your gifts, or just whatever it is, you don't feel worthy. I just want you to know your worth isn't dependent on a person.
That's right.
That you are always enough for God. Always. Your life matters, and you have specific gifts and talents that God has given you that He's going to use. You have a unique story that's going to bless someone. So just keep holding on to hope. You can do this. God's got good in store for you.
I wanted to add something that I was thinking of while you guys were talking is, girls, there's a scripture and it's Psalm 40. And it says, I waited patiently for the Lord. And it says, He turned to me and He heard my cry. He drew me up from the miry bog. He set my feet on a rock. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God, that many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. And sometimes the best songs of praise come out of the hardest seasons. And for some of you girls, the Lord is going to put a new song in your mouth, a hymn of praise to God. He's going to take you out of the miry pit, which just means like a slimy pit. It's like some of you feel like you're in a slimy pit that you can't get your footing, you can't get out of, but the Lord's going to draw you out. And He's always the one who rescues us, and He's always the one who puts our feet on solid ground. Hang on to Psalm 40. Maybe you're going through a rough season, and God's going to put a new song in your mouth and bring you back to the heart of worship, which is what we're talking about today.
I love that. Girls, we're preaching it. This is awesome. I need a white hanky or something here. It is so good. I love it. Hey, and also, like, I love that you did fine arts, and just so happened, beginning of August is when we're filming this, and this was supposed to be when National Fine Arts was happening, and it didn't this year. And I know that's been really difficult on a lot of teenagers that do that every year and really enjoy that time, but look what God can use your gifts and talents for beyond performing at fine arts. He can use you in the store. He can use you wherever, just with your friends or in a cemetery. He can use those gifts and talents. It's the heart behind it that He wants to bless you with and just use you in that. So don't give up on what God has for you. He's going to continue to use you in every season that you're in. So thank you again, Brittany, so much.
Thank you again for
we
having
loved
me.
it.
You guys are great. Love you, girls.
love
thank you. We love you so much.
Absolutely.
So be sure to check out our Spotify playlist in the link below. You're So Good to Me is in that album, so be sure to check that out. And we love you, girls. We're always praying for you. Bye.
Bye.